Elizabeth Warren, this piece over in Salon, Elizabeth Warren is winning, how the progressive icon is remaking politics without running for president. Your thoughts on the state of progressive politics in the United States right now? Bernie announced yesterday, and he just, in my opinion, knocked it out of the park. And I don't understand why any of it's even called progressive, because everything he called for was basically stuff that was part of Dwight Eisenhower's 1956 platform.
Wow, I didn't really put that together, but that's an interesting observation. Everything you talked about is something that benefits middle class, not progressive. When you put it in those terms. But the truth is we're running out of real leaders in Washington, and even certainly within the Democratic Party. You know, you've got some Sheldon Whitehouses, some Sherrod Browns, some Bernie Sanders, Alan Graysons, Elizabeth Warren. The last great leader, though, that you'd probably think about coming from the Democratic Party, the lion that would always take up for the working people, was Ted Kennedy, and he passed away in 2008. So for the last 7 years, the party's been looking for a leader to fill that void created by his passing. And there are a few people that seem to qualify, as I said, Whitehouse, Brown, Warren. But Warren is somebody that seems to be filling that position to lead the party from within the Senate. Nearly every statement she makes about her policy proposals, it makes headlines, and that's because she speaks with passion, Tom. She speaks with authority and conviction, the same thing you do on this program. That's why people listen to your program and watch your program, because they want to hear passion, they want to hear authority and conviction, and that's why she's the best choice to lead the Democratic Party in the Senate. Will we miss her as a candidate? Absolutely, but we have Bernie out there. And I got to tell you something. I thought it was an interesting shift from somebody like Rachel Maddow, for example, saying on MSNBC, don't think he is a fringe candidate. Let me tell you what's happening from what we see, filling this void, this leadership void. Bernie is filling the leadership void, and nationally. When we carry a story about on Ring of Fire on our site, or do a story on Ring of Fire about Bernie Sanders, the numbers go crazy. We asked the question the other day, demand that corporate media cover Bernie Sanders. We had incredible results from that. Why? Because people are looking for somebody to fill that leadership void that you're talking about. And so I think it's an exciting time, and I just get so angry when I hear just people dismissing, oh, well, this is just a fringe politician and he doesn't have a chance. Well, the truth is he does have a chance. If you think back, you didn't even know who, most of us didn't know, Obama was not even on our radar screen at this point. Right. At least this guy's been way, way ahead of that.
Yeah, and if you take the, boy, was it Marco Rubio? There was like four serious Republican candidates, and if you add up all of their popularity, it's not as great as Bernie Sanders right now. and yet the New York Times is writing derisive editorials, or not even an editorial, journalism, saying, well, there was a bunch of hippies in Burlington who showed up. They didn't represent the average American. Say, what? I used to live in Burlington. I mean, it's just, it's
unbelievable. It is just the corporate media has got to have a Hillary Clinton. That's what it's all about. So here's the dividing line. People listening to your program right now have got to understand, is this important enough to fight it out? It is time to fight it out with Wall Street Democrats. That's what Hillary Clinton is. Does she have a better chance than Bernie? Of course she does. Does that mean that Bernie has been just simply is not a contender? Do not count this guy out, because it is filling a leadership void. When members of Wall Street issued their ultimatum to the Democratic Party recently, they specifically singled out people like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren as the people that cause them so much headaches. They want the current party leadership to make her and make Bernie quiet down about the rampant corruption that's taken place at the big banks, or else they're not going to give generously to the Democratic Party. You will see the Democrats cave in. That includes the New York Times. That includes virtually every part of the corporate media that will cave into those kinds of threats and say, we want Hillary, because, she's a woman, she's worked her way up all these years. The truth is, all Hillary has ever done is politics. That causes me some concern to begin with. Here you have a guy that's talking about new political concepts, new political issues. Bernie Sanders, they're fresh. It's not the same old recap stuff that we're hearing from Hillary already. So I think he does fill that void. We are all in with Bernie Sanders, even when the media tells us we're insane to do that because we need to jump behind a candidate like Hillary who will lead the Democrats against the Republicans. At some point, we have to say now is the time to put up the fight.
Right. I truly believe, and we got about 45 seconds here left, Pap. I truly believe that Bernie Sanders has the potential to be the next Franklin Roosevelt.
If we can elect him, if people will just do what they know they must do, and that is to avoid the noise coming from mainstream media about his background of socialism and this nonsense talk that we hear, and make your local stations and your local newspapers cover his campaign and make damn sure that he appears up on the stage on every debate that takes place.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. And hopefully he will be part of those debates. I think it's a given now. And
I think it is.
Yeah, and that's going to, I think it's going to rattle a whole lot more than just the Democratic Party. I think that's going to rattle a lot of independents and a lot of Republicans and a lot of Tea Partiers who think they're conservatives but don't realize that, they're the ones who say, keep your government hands off my Medicare check, right? It's going to freak them out. I mean, there's going to be some serious waking up going on. Anyhow, Mike Papantonio, ringofireradio.com is the website. Thank you, Pap.
Thank you, Tom.